Can we all see that?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, good. So you guys, the purpose of today's training is just for us to kind of, refocus and put our fuel hats on. You guys, we all did a really solid push towards the end of the third quarter and into the fourth quarter during that first week in September, and you guys had a bunch of success with fuel. And what we've seen since then is, some tapering off of the line. And I know that some of you have been doing fuel. Some of you have, admitted to me that, hey, we're really not doing much with fuel right now. Here's kind of what we're focusing on. And look, you guys, I understand that you can't do all fuel all the time, right? You guys have different product lines, customers, segments, and all different kinds of things to worry about and focus. So, I want to just spend a little bit of time today. I'm going to try and keep this training session short and sweet to talk quickly about, what the opportunity is. I want to just show you guys a quick slide on what we've been able to do with the quality of our product mix and how our fit and failure rates are looking over these last few months, because I think some of you that maybe launched early on, I've talked to some of your CSRs, and they've expressed even being slightly discouraged with the line because they've had to deal with some customers who have had issues, and I can understand that. And so then let's just quickly kind of talk about what this plan is going to be over the next 3 or 4 weeks. I've talked to most of you owners or your sales manager has about when you plan on launching AC, so we roughly know about how much time you have to focus on fuel. And so let's just talk about some of the things that we're going to do. I want to spend a couple slides talking about just really the importance of selling your brands and knowing, exactly why we have certain products on the shelf and knowing how you should be selling them. And I know that some of you guys are good at this, and maybe some of you aren't, and that's okay, right? This is still a new line for us and something that we're all becoming familiar with. And then quickly we're going to talk about, what I'm going to be doing with pop-up notes. And, some of you guys use these notes. Some of you guys have a ton of notes that are old and in there from the past. But we're going to talk about how we're going to utilize pop-up notes so that we can focus on and talk about fuel to some of our customers that maybe still haven't given us an opportunity. So, first of all, for all you guys, CSRs, FSRs, all you guys that are on the call, and participating in March Radness and all these different things that you're doing, fuel is a category where we've struggled to grow and we've struggled to score points, certainly so far this year and even towards the end of the fourth quarter. So, we're going to look at a pie chart here that represents your guys' Metro installers. And this is everybody that carries fuel. I've looked at their Metro installers and created some customer categories that pretty much show us a pie chart that looks like this. And for some of you, it's 60%. For some of you, it's 70%. But on average, for every owner that carries fuel, 83% of your Metro installers, so no parts stores, no body shops, no non-Metro, 83% of them still haven't tried fuel or haven't bought fuel from you in the last 360 days. And I think that's probably slightly frustrating with how much marketing and all the work that you guys have done over these last few years with fuel. And it's probably also slightly encouraging. It tells us that we have a lot of opportunity to grow and we have a lot of work to do as well. So, this is the big picture, right? How do we get these 83% to give us an opportunity on fuel? And so we're going to talk about some things that I think we should do that will be able to help us. So, some of you guys have talked to you, and some of you guys that have had fuel for 18 months have said to me, hey, Blake, we're going back to customers that have maybe had some issues, and it's frustrating trying to get them to try us a third time or a second time after they've had an issue. Well, luckily, first of all, in looking at this pie chart, luckily those guys that have had issues, live in here, right? They live in this very small percentage of your Metro installers. So we still have all these guys out here that haven't experienced any problems, right? So, yes, was there an issue with quality for some of you at the beginning of your launches? Absolutely, right? Did all of your customers experience that pain? No, they didn't. So let's just look at, some of the progress we've done in carrying, more OEQ-style brands, weeding out some of the bad parts, and I'm going to give you a couple specific examples in a little bit. But in January, our return rate finished right at about 4%, 3,750 sales, 131 returns, and over the last 6 months, we're sitting just under 5% and I'll show you guys that statistic in a little bit. So, I believe that the quality of our line is there. We should get excited about it, and we should be out telling our customers what we're doing, what we're selling, and what our warranty is, right? And that's just plain and simple. I think that's where we should be focusing our efforts. So, the plan is pretty simple. I'd like to spend some time doing a little bit of retraining, and we're actually doing that right now. So we're going to talk about a couple topics here, and then for those of you that would like to participate in a little quiz, I'm going to create a quiz for you, and you can kind of see, how much of you retained, what are some things that maybe I need to refocus on, and you guys, we may decide that in a couple weeks we want to do another training session on a different topic. So CSRs, I'm going to train you quickly on just, we're going to talk about, selling some of your vendors and what are some important things that we should be communicating to our customers about the products that we sell. I'm going to talk to you about your pop-up notes and what those mean and what you should do when you see those. Outbound call campaigns, right? You guys, for March Radness, all of you are doing, a certain number of outbound calls each week. It's different for all of you. But I'd like to focus those call efforts on our fuel caller non-buyers. And for those of you that are going to participate in a fuel mailer, I think that's most of you, I'd like to follow up with those recipients and just say, hey, we sent you a piece of mail on fuel. Just want to make sure that you receive that and would love the opportunity for you to give me a shot on your next fuel pump, right? I think that's going to really help drive redemptions, and it's going to help you convert some of these customers. So, and then we are going to do some secret shoppers and just see, how you CSRs are doing at talking about fuel. Some of you guys are awesome. Some of you guys maybe have stopped talking about fuel to your customers. So let's start that again, and let's do it in a positive way, and we're going to do it in a focused way. So FSRs, quickly, we're going to talk about just understanding who you're seeing and why they're being targeted. We're going to talk about something new that I've come up with on a survey, right, which is going to be pretty fun. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And then any other relevant fuel marketing materials that you have, we should be handing those out to non-buyers and caller non-buyers and all those different types of customers. So I'll also be sending you guys some flyers that you can attach to invoices, and we can start getting that message out to your customers again. And then lastly is the fuel mailer. So this is kind of, everything that's going to be happening over this next month. I wanted to get, make sure that we were all on the same page there. So let's just talk about, I don't know, Betsy, are you here on this call?
Yeah, I'm still here on the call.
I'm going to pick on you just for a second because I know you a little bit. Selling your vendors on every call, when you have, a customer that's calling on a fuel pump, are you good at, telling them what the vendor is, or do they ask you? I mean, why do we do this? Why should you be, addressing the vendor of the fuel pump that you're selling that customer?
We always address what vendor we're selling to the customer, and we really try to sell the 800 all-part fuel pump most of all, and we push the warranty. We always say it's less than 3% failure rate across the country.
Sure.
And how we took the OE and re-engineered it to make it more unique, and it's beefed it up, and how we just really describe that pump.
Great. Well, I think there are several reasons that we do that, right? One, it's because the customer wants to know. Usually the customer wants to know who makes the part that you're sending them. The other reason that I think it's so important that we are addressing vendors, let's look at an example here on the next slide, right? If I just look up this part, this is a very common part. We're looking at an 02 Chevy Suburban 1500, a 5.3 with the square connector. This is an application where, as you can see, we only have a Delphi. What happens if that customer calls on this part and we just quote them that price of $259?
They're going to think you're high.
Yeah, I mean, do you think there's an opportunity that maybe that customer called AutoZone before and they didn't tell you, and AutoZone's got it for $175?
They think you're selling an AirTag.
Sure, exactly. So, this is a very good example, and I'm going to talk to you about what I would do here and how you should pitch that. And some of you may be doing this. Look, I'm not saying that you guys aren't doing this. Some of you may. Some of you maybe aren't doing this, right? Sometimes it's easy to be, get in the habit of just quoting parts instead of selling them. So, you guys, this is a situation specifically where you want to address our process, right? And what I mean is that selling our process is crucial. Betsy talked about upselling all parts, right, and making sure that we're communicating to our customer, what All Parts is and what we've done to improve on that line. But for this last application, which is a common one, right, we have a lot of applications where you guys maybe only have a Delphi available, or maybe you have a Denso or a Universal or some other brand. Let's talk about the how and why, right? And what I mean is our process. And what I'm showing you, I want you guys to just take a look at this table that's right in the middle here of your screen. I hope everybody can see this. This is the same exact part number that we just looked up, and these are all the different vendors that we have tried in the past, right? We look at AutoBest, $84, right? It was the cheapest one. This was one of the ones that we tried initially. 140 sales, 44 returns, a 31% return rate. So then we went with UM, $94, $10 more, 122 sales, 37 warranties, 32% warranty rate. Then we went with UF, $116, still a little bit more, 53 sales, 11 returns, and a 21% return rate. And now, for this application, we're only selling Delphi. Unfortunately, it's the more expensive one, right? But look at the warranty rate. You guys all seeing this?
Yep.
Does this process make sense to you, right? So what you would tell your customer, and the pitch here on this process is, hey, look, you guys, we've tried some other cheaper aftermarket vendors for this application. I'm only stocking and selling a Delphi here because we tried some other guys and we saw 20 and 30% failure rates. So, to me, it's not worth sending you a part that's going to fail. I'd much rather send you one that's more expensive, but that I know is going to work. Right? That pitch is so much different than just quoting them $259 on the part and having them think you're overpriced. What do you guys think?
Now, we're going to have access to see what vendors we've tried before and the pricing and, this little setup that you showed us here.
So this file is like a 300,000 kilobyte file that stores all these warranty and failure rates by vendor. You guys aren't going to have access to this, but what you're going to know is where you look up a fuel pump, where you only see something that's not MS, that's one of these OEQ style vendors, you can pretty much guarantee that it's a situation like this.
Okay, perfect.
Right? So the pitch there, Marco, is very simple. Look, if other cheaper aftermarket vendors out there worked, trust me, that's what I'd have.
Okay.
Right?
Hey, Blake,
Yes.
it's Betsy.
Hi.
What we do is on every product we sell, is we tell them we sell the highest quality product there is in the industry. Any one product has a failure rate of greater than 4%. We pull that part number to assure that you're receiving the highest quality fuel pump or radiator, whatever it may be, from our company.
Yeah.
That's what we pitch.
That's great. That's great. That's perfect. And you guys cherry pick.
I'll try to carry both on the shelf. I'll try to carry the aftermarket as well as the OE part, the Delphi.
Sure.
And I pitch both. I'll let them know what our part is. But I said, if you don't believe me, I got a Delphi. What's your choice?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Daryl, this application is one specifically where I think most of the other vendors are blocked. So, but yeah, you're all right. There are some where you can carry an MS and a Delphi, or you can carry a Universal and a Delphi, and if you want to be able to keep both of those, you can. I like you guys. Need you to start working on selling these parts rather than just quoting them, because what we've really seen is conversion is the worst on this category. This is one of the the lowest converting categories that we have, and I think part of it is because it takes a little bit more salesmanship than any other line that we have. We got a bunch of background noise going on in there. Can somebody trying to figure out who it is? Okay, there we go. All right, you guys. So let's keep moving. If you guys have any questions, we can address those a little bit later on. But this process is so important for you guys to start doing. I really want you to start trying that in these situations where you have another OE-style vendor. So, just a quick thing, and you guys, if you want to print this out and give this to your CSRs, or I'm going to send this out to everybody, but just, like Betsy was saying, you guys understanding your elevator pitch around 1-800-ALL-PARTS is crucial. So I've just typed up some bullet points here. I don't expect you guys to be able, to memorize and regurgitate this on every single call, but understanding in a few short sentences what 1-800-ALL-PARTS is and what are the benefits is really important. Your customers don't know what All Parts is, right? And they don't know unless you tell them. So, hey, saying we're the exclusive manufacturer and supplier of 1-800-ALL-PARTS, it's It's a private label line that we manufacture made up of sending modules, assemblies, and electric pumps. You know, our goal is being able to create a high-quality aftermarket fuel line with a competitive price and a lifetime warranty, right? That is our sole purpose. So here are some of the, you know, bullet points. You guys can cherry pick some of these that you like, but start to use these. You know, print this thing out and tape it on your desk next to your phone so you can talk about some of the benefits of 1-800-ALL-PARTS and get really, really familiar with this stuff if you haven't already. So pitching top installers. You know, you guys, when you launched, this was something that we got, you know, we were having you guys do on every single call, and I'm not going to ask you to do that again. I'm not going to ask you to pitch fuel on every single call because I know that got frustrating and I know that was annoying at times, but there are some top installers out there that haven't tried you. On average, you all have 200 to 100 Metro installers that have bought over $1,000 from you that have never tried you from fuel. It's important that those guys know what you sell, what our brands are, and what your warranty is. So for those top installers, I'm going to load a pop-up note, and what I'm going to ask of you guys, CSRs, is when that pop-up note comes up, please take note of it and fill some dead air with a message about fuel, and I'll show you an example of what that looks like. You know, pop-up pitch, I already have a couple warehouses I've done this for already, but when you see this important note pop up, drop the fuel pitch. I'm not really going to karate chop you, but I was trying to get people's attention here. You know, drop the fuel pitch. Give a message about fuel. Here's some examples, right? You see a customer like this pop up. Spot, you know, $5,400 in the last year, $3,700 in air, and no fuel across the board. You guys got to say something to this guy. Take a few seconds to fill up that dead air. Hey, Bob, while I look up this radiator for you, dude, I noticed you haven't given me a shot on fuel ever. What's the deal? Man, I appreciate your business. How can I get you to try me on fuel? We've made a ton of improvements to our line. We're seeing 4% warranty rates right now on fuel. Dude, it's really good stuff. We got a lifetime warranty. What do I got to do? I mean, just tell me, what do I got to do for you to give me a try, right? That's all I'm going to ask you to do, and it's only going to be for anywhere from 100 to 200 customers where you're going to see this pop-up note. Again, I'm not asking you to do it on every customer, only where you see this note. Is that fair for everybody?
Yeah. Did you already do that, Blake, with everyone?
I haven't done this with everybody yet. I've done it with a couple people so far, but not everybody.
Did you do that with us?
I haven't yet. I
Okay.
absolutely will. I absolutely will. My plan is to submit all this Friday, so everybody has theirs ready to go on Monday. That's the plan. So, you know, even if you can't get in this whole long thing, I get it. But hey, man, who do you buy fuel from, and are they giving you a lifetime warranty? Right? Doing a little bit of research, asking some questions, listening to what your customers are saying. I know we have some people on this line that are really good at pitching promos on the phones too, or whatever spiff you like. They hand out gift cards or gas cards or $5 Subway cards. Hey, man, I'll tell you what. You give me a shot on fuel, I'll send you out a $20 gift card, or I'll send you out a $10 Subway card, or whatever spiff you guys have. Use the tools that you have in your warehouse to help convert customers. We really need to make an improvement here on conversion. So, you know, just kind of summarizing what your customers should know, I think a lot of them don't, is what you sell, right? The different brands that you sell. They should know a little bit about 1-800-ALL-PARTS, and you should obviously always pitch them on your warranty. Lifetime parts, we have labor coverage, and as long as we're apples to apples, we are more than willing to price match for you guys. We want to earn your business. You know, give us the opportunity. So, you know, this is really the CSR piece. You guys are really going to be focused on pitching top installers, understanding who hasn't tried you yet, and making sure that you are selling your vendors. Those are your key points here over this next month. I really want you guys to just write some notes on your desk, develop your all parts pitch, have some bullet points out that you guys can reference and feel comfortable talking about. The key here is that, look, if I'm going to sell you a Delphi, a Denso, there's a good opportunity that the other cheaper aftermarket vendors out there, they didn't work. So that's why I have this more expensive part, okay? So then lastly, for FSRs, I want to make sure that we all understand the reasons for visit. You guys can print this legend out as you start your visits next week. But the reason codes, what do they mean, how do they look, and what should you do when you see them, right? And these are all pretty simple reason codes. You probably are familiar with them, although there's quite a few. I'm just going to populate them all up here, and we can talk about these. Anytime you see a reason code that starts with ATT, it's going to be referencing the fuel attribute you guys have stored in the system. So less than 1, means that he's done less than 1. This is a typo here. Between 1 and 4 per month and over 5 per month. Pretty simple on the attribute piece. You guys should all understand that. CNB post-visit. This means after your last visit, that customer called and didn't buy, right? So you were able to get a quote from him, but he didn't buy, right? So great to walk into that visit and have an opportunity to address that with him. Now you have different core sales buckets. This is where the majority of your targets lived. Between $1 and $1,000 no fuel, between $1,000 and $2,500 no fuel, $2,500 and $5,000 no fuel, $5,000 to $10,000 no fuel, and some of you guys have a couple of these, installers that have done over $10,000 in core business and still haven't tried you on fuel. Those are the guys that you really need to make sure that we get on board. So, and then we have some non-buyers. These guys haven't bought in the last 360, but they have bought in the previous 720. So haven't bought in a year, but did buy in the previous 2 years. All right, fuel caller non-buyers, pretty simple. These guys have called you on fuel and haven't bought. Anytime you see a visit list reason that starts with survey, you're going to know as the FSR that that is a customer where you are going to be delivering your survey. Each of you, and I've talked with your owners about, really we're going to survey your top 25 installers. Some of you are going to do top 50 installers that haven't bought fuel. We're going to deliver this 6-question survey, and we're going to follow it up with a promo, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. But anytime you see survey, FSRs, we'll pull that survey out of your car and make sure that you're delivering that survey. Now we have 3 different kinds of dropouts. These guys have bought $500 or less in fuel in the last year, and they haven't bought in the last 90 days. $500 to $1,200 in fuel, haven't bought in 60 days, and over $1,200 in fuel and haven't bought in 30 days. So these are all, some basic dropout formulas around fuel customers. You guys are going to get this. You can print it out to reference it if you need to. But these are the customers that you're going to be visiting. Anybody have any questions on these visit list reasons?
Blake, I have a question for you.
Sure.
When will fuel be print out on the visit campaign lists that we have? It's not on there, and the FSRs have no idea when they go, how much fuel did they buy?
I know.
It shows air.
I know. Such a good question, Betsy. I don't know where that is on the programmer's priority list, but I do know that it is on the list.
If we're pushing fuel, they need to know. They have no clue when they go in there.
I couldn't agree with you more, believe me. I could not agree with you more. We do need to get that added on there, and it is in the works. I couldn't tell you when it's going to be done, but it's absolutely something that we're working on. It's huge.
Okay.
It's very, very important.
And they're talking about the fuel sales on the visit list?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine print out.
On where?
When I do my visit list for our FSR, it has all their sales, total sales, air sales, and fuel sales. Fuel 30, 60, and 360.
Yeah, if you use the new system or the newer version, it's on there.
But not when you're looking up a campaign though. Like, for example, if we loop and map your visits for you, if I just pull up an example here, March Radness view, it's not here. I think this is what Betsy's talking about. Right, Betsy?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is what we're talking about here is that, when we help create and loop and map these visits in mass, and you guys reference here to print out your loops, fuel is not here and absolutely should be. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Let me go back to another question. Okay, so let's quickly talk about the survey, you guys, and what questions you're going to be asking. So when you see survey on your visit list reason is where you're going to be delivering the survey. I'm sending these guys out to you. Some owners have chosen a $50 off. Some have chosen a free one, but I just put this screenshot on here to show you guys an example of what you're going to be giving out. So FSRs, you're going to be asking your installers these questions. Hey, who do you currently buy your fuel parts from? What kind of warranty did they give you? What's most important for you when you're selecting a fuel supplier, right? What is your primary concern with trying us, right? You're a great customer of ours. We appreciate all your business, but You haven't tried us yet. What concerns you, right? And you're going to get an answer there. How often do you replace a fuel pump? Is it weekly, monthly, never? And then lastly, this is the closing line, right? How can I earn an opportunity to be your fuel supplier? How this works is you guys are going to gather this information, right? Pretty simple. You're going to gather this information on this flyer, and then you're going to rip off this bottom piece and say, hey, man, I appreciate you taking the time to answer these questions for me. Here's $50 off your first fuel pump or your first fuel purchase with me. So this is the survey, FSRs. You should be able to kill this thing. You're going to have a great visit. You're going to get some answers to these questions, and you're going to close with a really powerful promotion. Does anybody have questions about this? It's pretty simple, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, pretty simple there. Again, this is for most of you. We're just doing your top 25 installers. You're not going to be doing this to everybody. It's just these top 25 customers that haven't tried you yet. Some of you are doing 50, and that's great. I think that's awesome. You guys do your best at delivering the survey. Take the opportunity here to have a really great visit and gather some information and close with a powerful promo. So that's it. Let's just take 1 minute to just recap what we covered today. First of all, there's a ton of opportunity, right? For most of you, 70% of your installers still haven't given you a shot, right? We have a quality product, right? Warranty rates have dramatically improved over the last 6 months. They're right at 4.89%, over 28,000 sold and 1,300 returns. And you guys remember, that also includes these installer errors, these issues where maybe Fuel Tech has got involved. I think you've all had an issue where Fuel Tech has got involved and been able to solve a problem that had nothing to do with the fuel pump. Well, unfortunately, those failures are in here as well. So I believe our real warranty rate is under this 4.89%, right? You must sell your vendors, you guys. To be able to convert, you must be able to tell your customers what you're selling them and why, right? There's a good chance they're not going to buy and they're going to think you're overpriced if you're just quoting out parts, if you're just quoting them out, right? You need to communicate your process. You need to communicate your warranty. You really need to have some salesmanship around fuel in order for it to work. And then lastly, you got to be pitching your product, right? Your customers forget that you sell fuel. I bet if I went out in each of your markets and saw 10 customers, I bet you 8 of them would say, man, I just forget that you sell fuel, right? We don't want to annoy them, but at the same time, we want to make sure that they know what you sell. So important. So please don't ignore these pop-up notes. Take a look at them real quick and take an opportunity to pitch that customer on fuel. God, I really want to look at this thing at the end of a month and say, man, these pop-up notes where we were pitching fuel, God, we really turned these customers around and we were able to get, X amount of customers to try us because of it. And it's really all going to be driven by you guys, right? You guys, the CSRs, you guys talk to your customers more than anybody else in your business. So really, please take that opportunity to do that. And then lastly, FSRs, you guys deliver this survey, gather these results, and then close with an aggressive promo. You guys, this is a great opportunity for you guys to boost your numbers a little bit, for you to convert some fuel non-buyers, for you guys all to score new customer points for March Radness, improve your conversion, and score a ton of sales points. You guys, for most of you, you only need to sell 1 or 2 extra parts a week to score 60 points for March Radness. So you guys, take the opportunity to do that and go get them. If you have any questions, you guys can always email me or give me a call. We're going to be, based on your request in terms of mapping, loading the visits, or sending you the lists, that will happen this week, so you guys can get started on those next week, okay?
What's the conversion on fuel pumps on CSR? What's the average?
It's like under 30%.
30, okay.
It's not good, Betsy. It's one of the it is the worst. It is the worst. And I think a lot of it has to do with just customers aren't familiar. Betsy, do you when customers call you, do you ask them, hey, have you called anybody else on this part?
We do. We always ask if they've called anybody else, and they tell us no. What we're finding is they're calling us and getting a price quote, and then they're calling AutoZone and O'Reilly, and AutoZone and O'Reilly's beating our price. Well, now I'm telling them, make us your second call.
Yeah.
We'll be your second call, right?
Sure.
Because that's what they're doing.
Sure, and it's hard to change habits, but I think you guys, we can do this. I mean, you guys, we did this with AC. A lot of you guys sold way more your first year in fuel than you did your first year in air. So, I think in terms of how this launch has been organized, has been better. However, what we've seen with this product line is it's much less sticky, right? It's hard for our customers to remember and to continue to try us. And so unfortunately what that means for us right now is we have to keep focusing on it. Every quarter or so we have to go out and talk about it and push it and get really aggressive with it. And I think over time it will stick and it will eventually be, one of our core product lines. I mean, the opportunity is there. Unfortunately it's just a lot of work, right? We just got to do a lot of work.